We're talking about the highest level of Buddhist teachings now. Once you start going deep into the deity aspect, the goddess aspect, you have to start thinking that everything is a manifestation of Tara. The falling leaf, the rains, everything is Tara. Oh, whatever people are saying are Tara Mantra. Once you live in this mode, whether it is peaceful, wrathful, however it manifests, then you truly connect to Tara. And you're chanting a special mantra, and you are doing this very particular, mental practice. And at the completion of the practice, there's a small hole at the top of your head, physical hole. And you can take like a straw, like a kusha grass, and you can stick it in. So Guru will check your head. Yeah. Guru will check your head to see, and you will have some pus, a little bit of pus, little bit of blood. It's nothing painful. You'll feel little headache, but kuch nahi hota hai. Like little bit of pus will come out. If you feel like thoda sa itchy, and then you go to the Guru, you'll say like, yeah, I think maybe I have the signs, and Guru will see, and he'll bless a kusha grass, which is very pure, and he'll put this, stick it in your head, and you have to walk around with this. With other practitioners, it looks a little bit weird, it looks like you're growing weed out of your head or something.
We've already created an epic episode on the basics of Buddhism with Palga Rinpoche. This is a sort of sequel episode. He was in Mumbai and he gave us this gem of an episode. We've discussed deities like Tara and Avalokiteshvara in this one. We've spoken about a lot of parallels between Indic religions and Tibetan Buddhism. You're going to enjoy this particular episode. Before I let you slip into the episode, I just want to inform you that on the last episode, Palga Rinpoche chanted for us. He's chanted for us on this one as well. If you gave the last episode a listen, you'd know the kind of magic that was inscribed in his chanting process. I'm extremely delighted to announce that Palga Rinpoche has tied up with our meditation app, Level Supermind, and he's come out with his own Buddhist chanting series on Level Supermind. So if you wish to really take a deep dive into Buddhist-style meditations, please download Level Supermind and begin your own spiritual journey in a deeper, more magical way. The links for the app are given down below. But for now, this is my spiritual mentor, Palga Rinpoche, on The Ranveer Show. Palga Rinpoche, I didn't decide that we should do this podcast. You didn't decide it. This just happened. Welcome back to The Ranveer Show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me back.
How are you, Rinpoche?
I'm good. Relaxed, not tired. Been very active recently. And especially after our first podcast, the response was overwhelming. So also due to that, I had a lot of activities and been really busy, but very happy, very relaxed.
Okay. Actually, I was sitting right there where you're sitting right now on the floor. This is also my meditation room, and we've redone this studio, and I feel that when you renovate any place, it takes some time for the vibe to really set. So we renovated it. You were our first podcast here. And then we've had a bunch of episodes here with some spiritual people as well. Since then, I've been meditating here as well. Today when I was meditating here, I wasn't consciously thinking about you. Okay? For some reason, you entered my meditation very intensely at its peak. And I just got an intuition to call you tonight because we had a free slot for the show. I very rarely do a second podcast in a day. I don't know why I felt the urge to talk to you today. I know that some very special information is possibly going to come out today. What I will also tell the viewers is you have been recording some meditations in this studio for my meditation app Level.
Yes.
So you're familiar with this space.
Yes.
In one of your breaks from those sessions, you were sitting outside and having lunch, and I asked you a lot about Tara Maa.
Yes.
So I think that's a great place to begin because that's where my meditation began today as well. I did the mantra that you taught me.
Yes.
Would you like to begin the podcast with that mantra?
Yes, I would like to chant the mantra, invoke the blessings of Maa Tara, 21 different aspects of Tara. So, a very profound blessing, you can say, of Tara. Some are peaceful, some are wrathful, different colors, different purposes, but a very universal, how can you call it? Very universal Buddha, God, deity, whatever you want to call it. And the mantra of Tara, which is 10 syllables, which I had the good fortune of sharing with you. Very meaningful. I will explain the meaning briefly after we do the chant. Yeah. Om Tara 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 Soham Tara 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 Soham Om Tara 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 Soham Tara 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 Soham Om Tara 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 Soham Tara 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 Soham Om Tara 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 Soham Om Tara 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 Soham Om Tara 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 Soham Tara 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 Soham Om Tara 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 Soham Om Tara 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 Soham. Thank you. The meaning of the mantra, if I may: Aum, body, speech, and mind. Auma. With my body, speech, and mind, I pray, I supplicate, I do pranam to a Tara, to a goddess, described as Om Tare. Tare means the swift one, the fast one, the fearless one. If you notice Tara's main aspect, the 21 Taras, the main one of which one is represented by green Tara. Her right leg is slightly extended, representing Tare, which means swift. She wants to jump out of her seat to bless us. She is also fearless. She is not scared to jump out of her throne to come to our aid. Tutare, to dispel our fears, signified by her left hand, which you can also see here with white Tara. Left hand means the mudra of protection. Om Tare Tutare Ture Swaha. Ture is represented by the right hand on her knee, Dhan Mudra, the mudra of fulfilling our wishes spontaneously, rapidly. Swaha, I bow down, I pray with my body, speech, and mind to such a goddess.
Okay. Does Tara usually barge into people's lives the way she barged into my life suddenly and this taken over as my mother in some ways?
Yeah, she does.
Like she selects where she wishes to go.
Yeah. There are various historical sources of Tara, stories about Tara. One very popular story is that when Bhagwan Avalokiteshvara, with his infinite compassion, tried his best to empty samsara out of living beings who were suffering because of ignorance, anger, hatred, and so on. And he thought like he managed to empty samsara. But because, as we know, as per Buddhist teachings and also Hindu philosophy equally, samsara has no beginning and no end. That is why it is represented as a circle, as a wheel.
You mean the universe when you say samsara?
Yeah, everything that is in existence, not just the world that we live in, but as per Buddhist teachings at least, we're talking about the other dimensions. Dimensions of extreme suffering, we call them hell. Dimensions of extreme hunger and thirst, we call them hungry ghost, pret. Dimensions of the animal kingdom, yeah, and also asur, constantly in fight with the gods, and god realm, and also human. So the being, according to Buddhist cosmology and philosophy, there are 6 main realms. So Avalokiteshvara tried his best to empty all the beings because it's so much compassion, empty samsara. And when he thought that he had almost emptied it, it should be empty now, and he looked back, samsara had already again been filled with beings because it is endless. And he had immense, he was very sad and he cried. And I think from his 2 teardrops from his eyes, it touched the earth. A lotus bloomed, 21 petals. On each petal was one different Tara. And Tara said, "Don't worry, I will assist you." So we may have supplicated to Tara or have a connection to Tara in this life or maybe in one of our past lives. So you just can't tell, like the word you use, when Tara will barge into our lives and show us the path, yeah, invoke some changes in us.
This was given to my father by someone, and he had to move to Dubai, so he had left it in a cupboard of his. And I was cleaning out his cupboard one day. I found it, and I just wanted to keep it, and I've kept it over the years now. Only since I've moved to this house have I really been worshipping this particular idol. And I've had a tantra expert on the show, Rajashi Nandi. He taught me so much more about it. My connection with it has increased so much. And I feel with deities, there are phases in your life where you need the deity way more. And I did need it back then. Had some other deities enter my spiritual journey. And now she's back through you. When you taught me about Om Tare, Tu Tare, Tare
Puri
Swaha.
yeah.
The one thing I can describe about her energy is that she's very swift. Like that pace, both in terms of blessings and to come to protect you. And I have needed protection as well in the last 6 months. It's very fast. How do you connect more deeply other than just by your heart?
Since I was enthroned and at the age of 8, like we talked about last time, brought to the monastery in Himachal, one thing I've done consistently, always, every day, is at early in the morning, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, depends, winter, summer, we would always start the day with Tara practice. It will take maybe like 45 minutes. We call it the 4 mandala offering to Maa Tara. And we will make offerings of mandala. We would do the mandala mudra, which is basically performed like this. The center is Mount Meru. We are offering Mount Meru to Tara. And these 4 points are the 4 continents surrounding Mount Meru and all the subcontinents and all the planets. The palms of your hands represent the great oceans. So basically with this mudra, you're offering the entire universe, everything in it, everything in existence. So I've been doing this since I was 8. And after some time, when I started to receive teachings from my gurus, one guru told me that your personal deity is Tara. We do have our own personal deities. We worship all deities, all gods and goddesses, bodhisattvas and buddhas. But then there is a personal connection, a spiritual connection to one particular deity. And my guru told me that it was green Tara. And after some time, I really started to, my activities started to explode. Green Tara represents activity, swift, like you said. And my activity started to explode.
What does that mean?
Like my work, my spiritual work, to go out and meet people. I was like, we talked about last time. I was so self-centered initially and tried to look for happiness in material things and so on. But then afterwards, when I came back to my spirituality, got introduced to Tara and was told that Tara was my personal deity. My spiritual work, meeting with people, traveling, connecting to people also, literally just exploded after the realization.
You mean situations and circumstances were thrown in your life because of which you just had to comply?
Yeah.
And therefore your spiritual word went out to even more people?
Yes.
And you believe that it was because of Green Tara's blessings?
Definitely. Any Tara, but Green Tara is more associated with activity. Yeah. Like your work. And so it just exploded. And to answer your question, we do a lot of practices. We make a lot of offerings to Tara. We supplicate to Tara. We praise her qualities. Yeah. And also we chant her mantra. Om Tare, Tu Tare, Ture, Swaha. And in the Himalayas, in Ladakh and Tibet also, we have what we call praise to the 21 Taras. It's a beautiful, beautiful prayer. And we chant it all the time. And it's so beautiful. And in a big hall full of, hundreds of people, thousands of people. And to chant it and to supplicate to Tara, creating a mandala of Tara to the side, a big thanka, a big painting of Tara, statue of Tara, having invoked her and brought her here, and having made offerings, and we chant. Chansala dare nyuma pamo tu Tara injix pasel ma ture dong jimpe dolma so yige gyolando. Chansala dolma nyuma pamo chanes ka chelo danda jikte sumgon chishke shalgi gezare jewale nejo. Chansala dongel dawa gondo kangwa gyane tsek beshal skarmas tontra zospanam ke rabdo cheve urambarma. So on. I'm getting goosebumps just chanting it.
Why are we talking about this? Why is it important for the general masses to know about these things? What does Tara want through this?
To benefit us, to protect us, to grant our wishes for this life, for the next life, our spiritual wishes. I think the need of the hour, people are very desperate for protection, spiritual protection. Like right now, if you ask me, are we protected from hunger? Yes, our country is prospering. I think hardly anybody goes hungry these days, thirsty. Nobody is killing each other. Crimes have really come down. People are like more aware, and prosperity is happening everywhere. But what about spirituality? Are we spiritually also protected and safe? So Tara provides not only physical protection, emotional protection, but most importantly, spiritual protection.
Okay. Keeps you from doing the wrong things.
Yeah, and guides you along the right path, and makes you meet the right people, right circumstances, and it just happens spontaneously.
Which is so crucial, right? That's something you completely ignore in your own spiritual path. People play a huge role, and there is a point in your timeline where they'll enter your life.
Yeah. Definitely.
Like the biggest changes might have happened because of the people I've met who I'm still in touch. You being one of them.
Yes.
But you were meant to meet me at that point, and we're meant to have this conversation today. Which is why I don't know. I still want to deep dive a little bit more into this 21 Tara thing. I really hope the audience is gaining from this conversation in ways that are not even spoken in the form of spoken word.
Yes.
But what would you want to share about 21 Taras?
Like I said, I don't know if I can describe all the 21 Taras. But with Tara, the interesting thing is that she comes in peaceful form, various peaceful forms, and also various wrathful forms. Because our karmas are different. Some are tamed by peaceful means, but some need to be shown the wrathful manifestations. So Tara comes in different forms and different shapes, different colors, different intentions. And as per your spirituality, as per your karma, where you are in your life, she will manifest differently and guide you differently. Like, let's say, when we're young and when we're naughty, our parents might pull our ears, scold us a little bit, not because they hate us, not because they have an intention to harm us. We have to see that way also, from why Tara manifests in different ways. And we don't understand. Now we know that it was for our own good, to instill discipline and a sense of respect and so on. Tara does the same thing. And only once you start to gain a degree of confidence in Tara and you have faith in Tara, that however she manifests to us in the form of a Ladakhi guru, a modern guru, a male or female, we're talking about the highest level of Buddhist teachings now. Once you start going deep into the deity aspect, the goddess aspect, you have to start thinking that everything is a manifestation of Tara. The falling leaf, the rains, everything is Tara. Whatever people are saying are Tara Mantra. Once you live in this mode, whether it is peaceful, wrathful, however it manifests, then you truly connect to Tara. We call it Takpenangwa, which is like pure view. Pure view. Everything is a manifestation of Tara. But that takes some spiritual depth to be able to constantly stay in that mode. And not take things personally. Duality, you, me, this, that, good, bad. You just have to be and let Tara manifest in your life in different forms.
Submitting to the flow of samsara.
Yeah. Submitting to the manifestations of Tara in various forms. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually reading this book on the Gayatri Mantra by Om Swami.
Ji.
Very heavy book. He's like described in detail how to maximize the nectar you can gain from a mantra using mudras, using techniques, etc. But it begins by saying something similar to what you're saying in terms of when you reach a certain level of advancement after years of practice, what begins to happen is first, when you meet people, you don't see the person, you see the Holy Mother in the person. And then you see light, then you see the astral body, and then you see the physical body. And this becomes a phenomena wherever you go with whoever you meet. My reading of Tara, when I'm also trying to understand what the Hinduism aspect is, what the Zoroastrian aspect is, I would even go as far as saying what the Abrahamic aspect is that there is God's energy on this earth, like the one Parabrahm energy on this earth, which manifests itself as Shakti or Mother Earth or Mother Nature. And different cultures call this feminine energy different things.
Yes.
Generally in Hinduism, you have all the different matas, but they are matas at the end of the day, mothers. I have understood that maybe the Buddhist school of thought calls matas taras. Am I right in saying?
Yeah. We call Tara definitely the mother of all Buddhas. We call her the mother of enlightenment. So, yeah, you're very right.
Okay.
I think, your knowledge about various spirituality and religion seems to be much more than mine. Of course, you have met so many more eminent people than I ever had the chance. And you have good knowledge about different spiritualities, which is actually very good when you walk the spiritual path, because you are aware of the different interpretations and not only stuck with one. I, however, have only been, mostly introduced to Buddhism, so I can speak from a Buddhist perspective. So, phenomena is what it is. Yeah. Sun is the sun, moon is the moon, water is the water, energy is the energy, and so on. I think the interpretation and the way we use names and how we, perceive it and how we explain it to people, I think that differs a little bit. But the actual, object is the same. Yeah, how we talk about it, how we explain it, what words you use as per your own faith, your belief. I think that changes. So, yeah, you can say Tara is the mother of all. Tara is the mother of enlightenment. Tara is the mother of all goodness, universal love, whatever you want to call it, God. She is the mother essence of everything.
Do you think that there's a father essence?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know who he is. Yeah, it's difficult to pinpoint one, but in the scriptures, it's clearly stated that Tara is the mother of all Buddhas and she is the mother of all enlightened beings. Yeah.
I have to now ask you a bit of a spicy internet question.
Ji.
I won't say it's spicy. It's probably also my curiosity fueling this question. But this is the question that a lot of Indians crave answers for. I want to talk about Mount Kailash. What is its significance in Tibetan Buddhism?
Ji.
For Tibetans? Because it is in Tibet.
Yes.
Every single Hindu person wants to visit Kailash at some point, especially because of internet culture nowadays.
Ji.
People have openly spoken about how it is a life-changing experience. I want to know, one, have you visited
No,
yourself?
I haven't had the fortune yet.
Two, is it something you study about?
We know about it, yes.
So what is it from the Tibetan perspective?
From a Himalayan Buddhist perspective and from a Tibetan perspective, Mount Kailash has, as far as I know, two main significance. One is that the spiritual significance is that it is the abode of Chakrasamvara and Vajrayogini. They are two very important deities, gods, that we practice in my particular lineage, the Drupa lineage, and also a few other lineages. You see this meditation belt I'm wearing? The blue symbolizes Chakrasamvara. He has many different forms. The red symbolizes Vajrayogini.
Sounds a lot like Shiva and Parvati. That's what
male and
people-
female. So like we said, it is what it is, how we interpret it according to different faiths and beliefs. So the spiritual significance is that it is the abode of Chakrasamvara, Kholodemchok, and Vajrayogini, Dorje Pagmo, or Dorje Naljurma. The historical significance is that the great yogi of Tibet, Milarepa, he had somewhat of a wrestling match on Mount Kailash with an adversary. And like when you watch, when you see Mount Kailash, you see like this kind of line,
Yeah.
We say that they were fighting over a pot, and the vessel rolled down and created this. So yeah, two different stories that we talk about Mount Kailash.
You said it's home to those deities. But technically, deities are a form or a format of God, right? It's just God manifesting itself as something recognizable for simpler beings called human beings. But I have understood when it comes to deities, by understanding the culture of deities in India itself, that deities are just stronger in some geographical locations.
True.
What I've also understood is that there's a higher realm called the astral world, which is also around us.
Okay.
Deities exist much more strongly there. But maybe the portals into our physical realm are at those geographic locations?
Yeah. You can say that. I think I visited lots of holy sites. Of course, I never had the chance to go to Tibet and visit the holy sites there. But in our own country, we have many different holy places or different deities. And I visited, for example, in Himachal, there is a place, there's a mountain, and that is also one of the abodes. Like we own different homes, right? Yeah, the privileged own various homes, one house in Delhi, one in Mumbai, and so on. So it's a bit like that, I think. This could be your main home, but you have another house in Delhi and Bangalore. So I think a deity has a main seat, but then because of certain practitioners and they've attracted the energy, due to certain practices, they create other abodes. So in Himachal, there is one very special place, a mountain, and our Guruji said that it is the abode also of Chakrasamvara and Vajrayogini outside Tibet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there supposed to be a significance of you visiting this place?
For the deity, obviously not, but for myself, yes, so that I can connect deeper to the deity. The purpose of deities in Buddhism, at least in Himalayan Buddhism, Vajrayana Buddhism, is that we try to transform ourselves. the main goal of Vajrayana is to transform ourselves rapidly instead of wasting too much time, because life is very short and we don't know in our next life whether we'll be reborn as humans or not. Even if you're born as human beings, we don't know whether we will encounter the Dharma or a guru, get the chance to practice the Dharma and so on. So we recognize our good fortune in this life, and we try to make the most out of it. So we don't waste our time. A deity is, how can I say, we practice a deity. When you go into retreat, a guru will tell you, as per your lineage, that you go and practice this deity 6 months. And to connect to the deity, the main connection point portal is the mantra. Physically, you sit in a meditative posture. Verbally, we call them the three doors: body, speech, and mind. Physically, you sit in the meditative posture. Verbally, you chant the mantra. And mentally, you visualize the deity. So, using the three doors available to you, three gateways, you connect, you enter the portal, or you let the deity enter your portal.
You visualize it in your heart?
In our mind, yes.
Which is in your heart, according to you?
It's difficult to explain because mind is very mysterious, and I wouldn't really necessarily say that the mind resides only in the heart. I think the heart is kind of like, where it kind of revolves around. But the mind, as it expands, it can expand beyond this room, beyond this city, and it can expand into the minds of other people. So you will not only hear your thoughts, you will hear the thoughts of other people around you. So yeah.
Consciousness.
Yeah.
The consciousness can expand in a
Yes.
state of higher meditation.
Yes.
And then eventually, when you reach a certain point,
You know everything. You see everything.
Super random question, which I've asked a few people, and I feel like asking you this. What do you think is the significance of space? Because it's also part of samsara.
Significance of space. That's a very curveball wala question. I never actually thought about it like that. Space.
Is space something you think about or read about in your studies?
Not really. When we debate, in Buddhist philosophy, we talk about space, and we do mention space, but we also say that, like, when we talk about space in Buddhism, certain topics come up. We say that the Buddha's mind is as expansive as space, his enlightenment, his compassion, because you cannot really measure space. You can send a rocket, to the infinite, and it will just never stop.
Maybe
So space.
it's God's way of showing you how small you are in the grand scheme.
Exactly.
So
How
God's way of keeping you humble.
Yeah, as I would say, like in Buddhism, we don't really believe in a God who, shows you or does things for you or harms you or rewards you. But yeah, I think it is a interesting perspective when you look at space and you realize how small you are.
Is Avalokiteshvara Parabrahm, like all-encompassing God, or is it a deity?
You mean as per Buddhist
Yeah.
beliefs? In Buddhism, we don't really believe in Atman or a self. We don't really talk about. We don't really believe in a creator or a destroyer. There are different levels of teachings in Buddhism. Historically, we say that when the Buddha taught, he didn't actually teach different teachings to different people. He spoke in one word, one voice. But beings, according to their karma and their capacity to understand, they heard things differently. For example, let's say you have a very expert engineer, okay? A bridge or a dam is to be built. You have lots of experts in front of you. It's a big group in front of you. And you also have like less skilled workers, masons, bricklayers, and so on, coolies. So the engineer will say, okay, now we're going to start building a dam, It'll be like this, it'll be like that. There'll be like so many angles, so many confusing things, a mixture of this cement, that cement. The experts will understand what he's talking about. But then the simple-minded people, they will not understand what he's talking about. But whenever the lecturer mentions something like cement, strong, saria, bricks, 10 feet wide, then they will be like, okay, I think we're building something like a dam or a bridge. You understand? So they pick things up from. That's exactly what happened when the Buddha taught. There were many different beings who received his teachings, humans, non-humans also, and according to their own karma, the capacity to understand. Some got the deepest teachings, the most technical teachings, and some got the simpler ones. Not because Buddha lacked compassion to the simple-minded people, but that's what they could grasp. So when you talk about, when you go deeper into the Buddhist teachings, it slightly changes. For example, in the simpler teachings, we say that this is hell, this is heaven, you do good things, you get punished, and so on. As you go deeper into the teachings, it is mentioned that, well, where is hell? Where is heaven? It is right here in a moment's experience, in a day's experience. It is an illusion. It is a creation of a confused mind. Samsara is because your mind is confused. Nirvana is because your mind is more relaxed, more free. But then you go to the higher teachings, highest teachings, Vajrayana. We say everything is God. Everything is Tara. Everything is Avalokiteshvara. Everything is Buddha. There are different words we use. And whatever you hear is mantra, teachings. We call it like the pure view, like I said. So it's very difficult to give a definite answer from Buddhism because there are so many different layers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I'm trying my best. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine, sir. What is Avalokiteshvara?
Wow. What isn't Avalokiteshvara actually?
Got my
Avalokiteshvara.
answer.
Avalokiteshvara, in the most simplest way to explain, is the bodhisattva, is the manifestation of the compassionate nature of our true self. Okay, I'm trying to choose the right words in the right way. Is a manifestation of the compassion aspect of our true natures, of our Tathagata Garbha, of our enlightening true natures. Because we cannot access, okay, as per Buddhist beliefs, Buddhist teachings, we say that we already have enlightenment within us. It is right here, but it is wrapped by this rag of ignorance, attachment, bad karma, and so on. And in Buddhism, the process is more about unraveling. Yeah. So this enlightening as self that we have, this Tathagata Garbha, has many different aspects. One of them is compassion. So Avalokiteshvara is the manifestation of the compassion of your true nature. Manjushri is the wisdom manifestation of your true nature. Vajrapani is the power. So go so on and on. But Avalokiteshvara is the most well-known bodhisattva, well-known manifestation. And Avalokiteshvara manifests in many different forms. In the Sambhogakaya form, which is the mystical aspect of Avalokiteshvara, he's adorned with tiara, with beautiful, like a prince. He has like sometimes 4 arms, sometimes he has 1,000 arms. He has 108 main aspects, different manifestations. In the human form, Avalokiteshvara manifests in the form of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, my own guru, the 12th Gelwang Drukpa, and all the great gurus, not only Buddhist, but also non-Buddhist. Yeah, anyone or anything that does good for the society, using compassion as a base, is a manifestation of Avalokiteshvara.
Okay. I have to move the podcast into a bit of a mystical realm now.
Ji.
You know it's gonna go there.
I know. I
You saw our last episode?
know. Yes.
You spoke about that ritual. Tumo?
Tumo. Yes.
Sorry. You spoke about Tumo?
Yes.
Are there other rituals like that which are a little extreme for listeners, but it's actually pretty normalized for you?
Yeah, there are others, but are they as attractive or enticing as this practice that we talked about, Tumo, inner heat? Yeah, like for example, there's this practice that we do. We call it Phowa, the transference of your consciousness. transference of your mind, of your consciousness. It is basically a practice, the details of which I cannot talk about on such a wide platform. It is a very specific practice. And the basic idea is that you are ejecting your consciousness. You're practicing the ejection of your consciousness through your body, through the crown of your head into the paradise of a Buddha, to merge with the Buddha. Yeah, and we do this because we are preparing ourselves for death. When we die, we do not want our spirits, our consciousness, our minds to keep wandering in the intermediate state, bardo.
As ghosts.
As ghosts, as just wanderers, very sad, without any aim, fearful. And what happens is that when you keep wandering, your past karma might catch up, and you might end up in hell or some other dimensions where it'll be very difficult to come out of. So think of us like getting stuck in a portal, but without a door for an infinite amount of time. That's very sad. So before we get stuck into such a portal or it sucks us, we try to eject our consciousness while we are in the process of dying, while our consciousness is seeping deeper and deeper. While you realize that you're losing your consciousness, and you eject your consciousness into Buddha realm. So that's the mystical aspect of it, into the heart of a Buddha.
Training for death.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that there is a physical manifestation. So when you practice this, usually for like a week, or at least until you see the physical sign, which is you're just visualizing and you're chanting a special mantra, and you are doing this very particular, mental practice. And at the completion of the practice, there's a small hole at the top of your head, physical hole, and you can take like a straw, like a kusha grass, and you can stick it in. So Guru will check your head. Yeah, Guru will check your head to see, and you will have some pus, a little bit of pus, little bit of blood. It's nothing painful. You'll feel little headache, but kuch nahi hota hai. Like little bit of pus will come out. If you'll feel like thoda sa itchy, and then you go to the Guru, you'll say like, yeah, I think maybe I have the signs, and Guru will see, and he'll bless a kusha grass, which is very pure, and he'll put this, stick it in your head, and you have to walk around with this. With other practitioners, it looks a little bit weird, it looks like you're growing weed out of your head or something.
What does this practice do to you in the medium term?
Medium term,
not short term, not long term. Say you do this every day for 6 months. What starts changing?
We don't have to do it for 6 months, thankfully. We do it for like a week maybe. Some people can see the manifestation even within a day. Some people in 3 days. It depends. You do feel headache. You feel headache, and you might feel a little bit dizzy. Otherwise, you don't feel that any bad side effects of it. But then, what happens in a longer term, at least until you die, if I may say so, you lose the fear of death, because you have the ticket already booked. Yeah, you've seen the sign. So when you die, either you do it yourself, you eject your own consciousness, or a Guru will come and he will eject your consciousness. So you not only can eject your own consciousness, but you have the power to eject the consciousness of someone else who's about to die, who's in the process of dying. This is explained beautifully in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Yeah.
Okay. What else is there in that book?
A lot. A lot. It's wow. I don't know where to begin actually.
There's a Hindu scripture called Garud Puran, which is similar. It's the Book of Dead, where they describe what you have to go through in order to clean your karmas before the next birth.
Okay.
Is it something similar?
Yeah. There are lots of guides about the process of dying, what happens to your body, how the inner elements of your body, heat, the solidity, the liquid, and our breath, water, fire, earth, and wind, how they merge with the external elements and so on, how you start feeling heavy and drowsy. So it's a manual on dying. So if we want to know more about how dying feels, or the process of dying, at least a normal death, I think there'll be a good book. There'll be a good book to crack open.
Does it say that the point of death is extremely physically painful and emotionally painful?
It can be. It can be, especially when you're attached to your belongings, to your loved ones, and if you feel like there's so much more to do, if you haven't let go mentally, spiritually, then it can be very painful.
There's a mantra in Hinduism called Mahamrityunjay mantra,
Ji.
which basically loosely translates to may I become like Shiva, and at the point of death, may my soul leave my body painlessly, and may I conquer death in that painlessness.
Okay.
And it means a little more as well. Like they've described how Shiva's fragrant.
That's a beautiful prayer, actually. Yeah, sounds like a beautiful prayer.
You spoke about the Buddhist deity version of Shiva. What was the
Ji.
name?
Buddhist deity version of Shiva, the Chakra Samvara, the one who resides,
Yeah.
Chakra Samvara.
What is his significance? Chakra Samvara.
Wow.
Is it related to death or destruction?
No. Nothing like that.
Okay.
Chakra Samvara is actually, it's Buddha, actually, enlightenment. Yeah. It's basically just enlightenment. It is, again, we are talking about something that cannot be described in terms of words. I can just tell you that when you're in retreat, Chakra Samvara retreat for 6 months or 1 year, however long your guru tells you to, recite Chakra Samvara's mantra. So usually what happens, in order to understand Chakra Samvara or to connect to him or to get his blessings or transform yourself, however you want to say it, your guru will tell you to go into retreat for a certain amount of time and to recite a certain number of his mantra. So, for example, he might say something like, just say Om Ta Re Tu Ta Re Tu Re So Ha, 10 syllables. So you will say like 10 syllables, chant each one 1 lakh times. So like equivalent. So multiply 10 by 1 lakh times, something like that. So it depends. It depends on the guru. It depends on the tantra on which the retreat is based on. It's all written there that you must chant this mantra, each syllable equivalent, the complete mantra, and each syllable equivalent to like 1 lakh times. Aisa kuch hota hai. So yeah, like sometimes millions of times, sometimes billions of times, sometimes it can take up to 6 months, sometimes up to 2-3 years. But usually we complete it within 3 years and 3 months.
These numbers seem discouraging for many viewers. Million, billion, lakh.
Ji.
Even in the Gayatri Mantra book, he's spoken about doing it lakhs of times.
Ji.
I think what's also important to be mentioned here in this podcast is what I like to call time dilation.
Ji.
Which basically means when you're meditating with enough calmness, what ends up happening is after a point, you're not chanting the mantra's chanting you.
Okay.
And in that moment, the nature of time changes and the nature of how many times you've chanted it also changes. You go into a bit of a trance.
Ji.
Have you felt time change when you've been meditating?
Yeah, like when you really go deep into meditation and when you're inside a small room for 3 years and 3 months, no outside contact, no mobile phones, no television, nothing at all, just you and maybe your guru with you in the next room. For the first few months, of course, everything is like very, difficult. Time seemed to pass very slowly and you just kind of like counting down the days when you will get out. After like 3-4 months, when the dust settles, you kind of go into this zone and it becomes very seamless. It becomes like very cruise mode. You don't have to shift gears. You don't have to press the accelerator. It's just soaring. And you really don't care too much about the time factor anymore. And you actually wish that you could spend more time. Because as you chant more and more, you start to manifest a deity's powers in yourself. You start to feel it yourself. The idea of chanting mantras and to visualize a deity in a very set condition for a set amount of time is that you transform yourself into a deity and you start to exhibit some of the deity's characteristics. A little bit fearful, a little bit compassionate, sometimes a little bit angry, but usually enlightening, more wisdom. Yeah. You do have to take care of yourself, that you don't, like we talked about earlier, spiritual suffering and so on. You don't get spiritual arrogance. That can be a big pitfall. So we say usually that when you do these kind of deity practices, like mantric, tantric practices, it is like a snake in a bamboo. It can either go up, enlightenment, or down to hell, or to, So you have to be really careful. You cannot go left or right. So before you enter this bamboo, like, be sure that you want to enter the bamboo and you really can follow your guru's words to the letter. We call it samaya, the guru's instructions. And don't break it. If the guru says to you, drink water from your shoes, you have to drink water from your shoes. You need to have this absolute trust in your guru. And you have to see that the guru himself is a manifestation of a Buddha. So like I said, Buddhism can go very deep, and the practices can change radically as you move, between regions, between cultures, and so on. But at least in the Himalayas, we have this. In Vajrayana Buddhism, it is we practice the mystical aspect. There we see the guru as a Buddha, as the absolute.
What did you feel at the end of those 3 years and 3 months?
Wow. Honestly speaking, speechless. I really cannot explain it. I really didn't want to come out of it. Very, very peaceful, very calm. Like if you see a beautiful lake, a serene lake, a clear sky, right? No wind at all. It just looks so simmering. It felt like that. No turbulence at all. It felt like this vast lake. That's the best description I can give it to you. And you just felt like you're floating and nothing seemed to bother you. Everything seemed to lose its significance. Yeah. Praise, okay. Somebody criticize you, okay. Yeah. You see the emptiness in everything, the illusion in everything. Everything seems to be slightly transparent, and things really don't affect you as much. They lose their weight. So it stops affecting you. You feel like you're walking through rainbows. Yeah, when you meet people and so on. It's amazing. I just went back to Darjeeling in 2008-9 when I, came out of my retreat. So
How do you look at the world of romance between a man and a woman, or man, woman, woman?
Gee.
How do you look at this?
Wow. Many different ways, actually. I think, sadly, these days, relationships have become very disposable, and people are not really treating each other humanely. We are people, we are supposed to be humans, but that sense of respect to another human. Because, see, when you get engaged with someone, romantic relationship, marriage, going out, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, you're basically attaching a hook into someone. I love you, and I also love you. Yeah. And it's caught deep within your flesh. It goes to your heart. And then if you're not careful, if you keep tugging it too much, if you misbehave and so on, it creates a lot of pain. But what happens these days, as soon as you find someone more attractive, you attach another hook to that person and you literally rip it off without even thinking about the consequences of your actions, what might happen to that person at a physical level, at an emotional level, which is worse. So that's what I see happening these days. But an ideal relationship, in my opinion, should be based first and foremost on the foundation of friendship. You should be good friends first. You should look beyond the physical appearance and the fashion, and you should look at the character of the person, not just the personality. Character hardly ever changes. Personality can change depending on age and so on, but the character remains the same. Character is what defines a person. So I always tell people to look at the character of the person. Does it match yours? Is he or she as outgoing as you are? Or is he or she, if you're spiritual and if your partner is constantly going out and after material, you will have a lot of clashes. She or he will not enjoy your presence, and vice versa. So if you're a very spiritually inclined person, look for someone with spiritual character. Yeah? And that can become a very good, but look at the foundation of friendship. Try to be good friends first. Yeah? Loving is easy, but liking someone, I think, is a little bit difficult.
For
So
that long.
yeah, for that
For
long.
life.
Yeah, so if you do happen to have some turbulence in your relationship, you can fall back on friendship because the honeymoon period only lasts for so long.
Hmm.
Yeah. Once
Yeah.
it loses appeal, then you're kind of like, the things that you never noticed before might start noticing, and you will use as an excuse. You never used to come so late. Used to call me honey all the time. Used to open the door for me. Used to pay my, this and that, whatever. So that, changes. At least you can fall back on friendship, I guess.
Cool. Why does God send you the wrong people?
What if
Why does God send you
the wrong people?
the ones that you're not meant to be with?
See.
And then makes you love them a lot.
Yeah. Well, again, from a Buddhist perspective, we don't believe that God necessarily sends someone to you to make you suffer. We don't usually bring God or the idea of God or enlightenment into all these things. I notice that these days, when something good happens, when something good happens in your life, when you achieve something, you say like, oh, this is because of my hard work, of my education, of my competence, it's all me. You take selfies and pictures and so on. And if something bad happens, you're like, God, why are you doing this to me? You understand? So I think it is a wrong thing to bring God into all these small things. These are very insignificant things. After all, we are not even specks in the grand scheme of things. We are even smaller than a drop of water in the grand scheme of things. We are so insignificant. I would say that it is because of your own past karma. You had sown a seed, maybe a good seed, maybe a beautiful flower, or maybe a cactus. You don't know. Maybe a healthy egg, or maybe a rotten egg. You don't know. So, and also, as per karma, and also as per my belief and my experience, you sometimes only have the karma to be with someone for a certain duration. Once that is exhausted, you can try your best. You can do whatever you want. You just don't have that feeling anymore.
What's the purpose of that duration?
I think there's no ultimate purpose. It is a consequence of one of your past actions in your life, in one of your past lives. Yeah. So maybe we misbehaved with that person and dumped that person after a certain amount of time. And now the cycle has, come full circle, and you're seeing the effects of your actions. And instead of breaking the cycle and accepting it and maybe just remaining friends or ending on good terms, our ego prevents us from doing that. Our level of attachment prevents us from doing that. We think it's love, but it's not. It's a sense of extreme possession. You just can't let go. Yeah. And you cause suffering to yourselves and to the other person, and you're creating a new cycle again.
How do you eliminate that sense of attachment? Again, is it spiritual?
Can be. I think it should be based on realization. To realize that I have this theory when it comes to love and relationships. You should love without getting attached. I mean, as soon as the sense of attachment comes, it can very rapidly turn into possession and obsessive behavior, constant calling and reminding and arguing and so on. I think if you keep your love very free, very open, based on loyalty, trust, it can be very, you can feel very good in your relationship. But as soon as you get attached to that person, where are you? Yeah, it is 10 past. Who are you with? I think I heard someone. You're like so attached to that person. Not physically attached because she is somewhere else, but mentally and emotionally attached. You just can't think of anything else but that person. And if you send a message, WhatsApp, 1 tick, she hasn't seen my message. 2 ticks, blue tick, she hasn't responded back. You understand? You even get obsessed with the ticks and the tings and the blues, I don't know. That becomes very obsessive. And I think it's, starts to start spiraling down. When you love someone, I think you should trust that person. It should be based on giving and not focusing solely on receiving and receiving and receiving and receiving. It should be open and free.
Why does that happen to human minds? But where does that sense of attachment come from?
Habits from the past. We in Buddhism we call it habitual tendencies. So you have this habit. You have built up this habit of getting attached to small things, not letting go of meaningless things like your torn shirt or your torn socks.
Ooh.
You understand? So
Ooh.
it keeps building up on that, and it carries into your relationship and beyond. So it's good to start practicing your non-attachment with things that don't mean that much to you, things that you can dispose of, and slowly start bringing into more meaningful things like your relationships and humans that you interact with.
I had a bad breakup about like a few months ago.
Ji.
And then I met you on this show and we spoke about Om Mani Padme Hum.
Yeah.
And in the following week after our recording, I sat and did a few chanting sessions.
Ji.
And maybe after 20 minutes of chanting, I found forgiveness. Like forgiveness entered my head for that person. Yeah. I feel like that person broke up because of the influence of their friends.
Ji.
You know, who had not met me, but I just made assumptions because I'm a YouTuber. So I had a lot of anger towards those friends.
Okay.
I forgave them as well in that chanting session.
Ji.
And I felt more detached in a nice way. You told me that Om Mani Padme Hum is a transformative mantra.
Yes.
And it'll give you the transformation that you need.
Yes.
Okay.
It is the mantra of Avalokiteshvara. It has so many different meanings. Union of compassion and wisdom. Om Mani Padme Hum. 6 syllables. It releases you from negative emotions such as attachment, anger, jealousy, ignorance, greed, selfishness, and so on. Also from hell, hungry ghost, animal kingdom, humans, asur, God. So it has so many significance, this mantra. But ultimately, I feel it expands your mind instead of feeling contracted and living within that small box, because everything suddenly seems so small, so shrunken when your heart breaks or when you're going through a hardship. So it kind of breaks the locks of that small box, lets light in and just expands your mind. And then you find the space for forgiveness and to let go. It's transformative. You cannot explain how it happens, why it happens. It just happens. So it's good to keep repeatedly repeating a mantra that you feel connected to.
When you're chanting, are you supposed to chant out loud or are you supposed to chant in your
Either
mind?
way. Either way. When you are by yourself and you just feel like you want to chant verbally, you can chant it. But when you are of course in an office or lots of other people around, if you start chanting, maybe they might get disturbed. So you can just make a meditation out of it. And you can use your mantra that you are chanting in your mind as the object of your meditation. Let's say we are using breath meditation, right? Which is very simple. You just watch your breath, stay with your breath, be aware. In that sense, breath is the object. If you have a bindu in front of you and just looking at the bindu and resting your mind on the bindu is the object of your mind. But when you can make a meditation out of chanting mantras mentally and make the mental chanting of the mantra the object of your meditation. So you can chant it either way. You can sing like I did last time, Om Mani Padme Hum, you can just chant it normally, like when you're going from room to room. Yeah, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Fine, totally fine. You don't have to literally sit down and do that. In Ladakh and Tibet, we do it all the time. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Oh yeah, a glass of water. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. It just becomes a part of you. As soon as you open your mouth, a mantra comes out. Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow. You drink a sip. It becomes a part of you. And by this constant chanting and connecting to Tara, at least verbally, even if you can't focus on her right now because you're doing a lot of things, you connect to her much faster, much deeper.
When you're sitting for an Om Mani Padme Hum meditation or a Om Tare Tu Tare Tara Swa meditation, what do you have to visualize?
Depends on the text, depends on the lineage, but usually you visualize either Avalokiteshvara in the case of Om Mani Padme Hum or Tara in the case of Om Tare Tu Tare Turi Soha. It depends. Sometimes you have to visualize on top of your head, facing that way, like human size, but not touching your head, maybe like your foot sitting on a lotus petal. Sometimes in front of you. And you have to visualize, for example, the mantra coming out of the mouth of Tara or Avalokiteshvara. And when you're chanting, you have a rosary like this. I will not take it out because of the microphone. So you could have a mala like this, and you would be chanting at your heart, and you would be chanting like this. You'll be counting like this, and like you are here right now, I would visualize the mantra, a steady stream of mantra, Om Tare Tu Tare Turi Soha, coming out of your mouth and entering my mouth or my heart. And see, this helps with the process. I'm kind of hooking it into my heart, sometimes into my mouth, sometimes from your heart into my, from your mouth to my heart, or it depends on the text.
I'm going to ask you a question that might sound silly,
Ji.
but it's not. What is visualization?
It's an important question.
I'll tell you from where this is coming.
Ji.
When I first began meditating in life and I came across visualization-based meditations, I remember it was during a Reiki course. Okay, and they told me to visualize something pretty elaborate. And my first thought was, this is stupid. What is imagination even going to do to me? And in that first meditation, I cried. When you fully submit yourself to the visualization. And this is a very important point in someone's spiritual journey, when they understand the power of what visualization can do. What is visualization actually?
Visualization is the means to manifestation. Let me just say it like that. Without visualization, there is no manifestation. It is for the sake of manifestation that you visualize. Basically, you are constantly thinking or imagining an enlightened being in your mind and connecting not only physically by sitting in a special posture, verbally by chanting a mantra, but at the deepest level of yourself, which is your mind. So you're connecting to a deity at a very deep level. That is visualization. Once you establish your visualization, and with enough repetition of the mantra, you start to see the manifestation of the deity in yourself. How you feel, your level of confidence, your ability to be compassionate, to be forgiving, to be patient, to be calm, not to get agitated with simple things. You just start feeling more powerful, and you don't know where that power comes from. You just feel it in yourself. So visualization is for the sake of manifestation, if you ask me directly, for a direct answer without going around.
Okay. You'd given me a scroll a long time ago, actually. It was an Om Mani Padme Hum. You recently, the last time I met you, you gave me an Om Mani Padme Hum Hreem.
Shri. Yeah. Shri. H-R-I. Shri.
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 Gotcha. What is that word?
Shri actually can mean many different things, but in terms of Om Mani Padme Hum, there are different ways to explain it, and different teachers explain it differently. But Shri kind of wraps the whole experience of Avalokiteshvara, the 6 syllables. It kind of packages it all. Let's say you have a burger, right? A veg burger, right? You have 2 buns, and you have the burger in between, some tomatoes, some vegetables, so on, some cheese. And Shri is kind of like the packaging, that wraps it. Something like that. Shri is not usually uttered all the time. We chant it once in a while. So you just chant like Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. You just, once in a while you go like Om Mani Padme Hum, Shri Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Shri Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Yeah, Shri can have so many different meanings. Mantras can mean different according to different teachings, different tantras.
Yeah. There are these tantric words that are used in some mantras. One of which I've discovered is Hreem, which is why I assume that that was actually the word.
What does it mean?
I honestly don't know, but and I'm trying to figure out. There's a tantric mantra I chant for a Hindu deity called Batuk Bhairav.
Ji.
The mantra is, wow, it's not coming to my mind. 1 second. Wow. It came to my mind. Okay.
Okay.
Om Hreem Batukaya Apududharanaya Kuru Kuru Batukaya Hreem. That word, it feels like an arrow to me.
Hreem.
And that's what I keep visualizing when I utter that word by itself.
Ji.
And it can sound scary to some people. I believe it's some sort of a call out, like making a mobile phone call.
Yeah.
To Batuk Bhairav, saying, come, help.
Could be.
Or
I
bless.
think I don't know where you got that teaching from, that mantra from, and I don't know on which tantra it is based on. But if you follow it and if you feel it is beneficial for you, as you go deeper, you may not be able to explain the meaning of the mantra, but you will definitely feel it. Yeah, and mantras sometimes are also very individual experience. Yeah, when you chant mantras, the experience is never the same for everyone. We realize this when we retreat, because we all have different karmic conditioning. We have all committed different acts in our past lives, and never ever the same acts in all our past lives. So the spiritual journey, as you progress on it and you chant mantras and do visualizations, the effects of it can also differ, can have small deviations from person to person. That's why we say that enlightenment is a very personal experience. You cannot really describe it. There's no one way to describe it. So, for example, we can say traffic lights, red, yellow, and green. That's it. That's kind of universal, right? There's no other blue or orange or pink. That's it. But with spiritualism or with enlightenment or the journey within, there are no words to describe it, because it's a very personal experience. And we say in Buddhism that it is like giving candy to someone and asking, if the person is mute, giving a candy to a mute person and asking him to describe the taste. He'll go like, and you know that is good, but you don't know whether it's a little bit khatta, sour, caramel, mango. You'll say, how is it? Right. You know that is good, but you don't know like what good, how good, which good, how does it taste like exactly. You cannot really tell exactly how it feels like. So like you said, it feels like an arrow is being shot, but you can't fully express it. And to understand the significance of the mantra and the practice you're doing, you have to go deeper and deeper into it, and you will experience it, but you may not be able to communicate this to someone. That doesn't matter.
No. I recently discovered this Hanuman chant called
Ji.
Bajrang Ban, which is not supposed to be chanted often. You're supposed
Ji.
to chant it only when you need things.
Okay.
One of the reasons is because some of the stanzas contain some tantric mantras,
Ji.
like sham, 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 sham. And you're not supposed to listen to it regularly.
Okay.
What is this logic about some words which you're not supposed to do regularly? Why is the not a factor?
See, Tantra can have many different layers, and it is a very particular teaching. Tantras are actually instructions. You can just say it like that, yeah? It is an instruction, and you really have to follow the specific instruction in it. And usually, there is no logical reason behind why you should or should not do certain things. And tantras are very strict instructions. You deviate a little bit, I think you will suffer. And if you do it properly, you will prosper. Snake in a bamboo. Yeah? Little bit of hesitation, you may slip down. But if you have trust in your tantra, in your guru, and your practice, you will go up. But you really must follow it to the letter. It is extremely important. If it says visualize a stream light coming through your forehead, you visualize it from your forehead, not from the tip of your nose, not from the crown of your head. It has to come from your forehead. You really have to follow it to the letter. It is extremely imperative. If the tantra says, well, while chanting the mantra, I don't know, like smell an onion. Yeah, or something like that. You really have to smell the onion. or to put like a garlic around your neck, you really must put the garlic around your neck. Or to wear a straw hat, you have to wear a straw hat. There's no logic and reason behind some of the tantric instructions.
This is where spiritual people in power can sometimes slip and fail their tests also.
Yeah.
So, name of instructions in tantric practices, they can tell people to do things that are actually not a part of the practice in the first place.
Yeah. Some teachers, some gurus, who have not fully, completely understood the tantra that they're practicing or the set of tantras that they're practicing may prescribe something that is too powerful for a novice. Like maybe giving the keys of a Ferrari to a 5-year-old child or 10-year-old child. He's not ready to drive such a powerful car. Maybe he's ready to drive a simple vehicle, battery controlled, or a bicycle, right? But when that child reaches maturity, 18, 19, 20, and knows how to drive a car properly, then maybe you can give him the keys to a Ferrari and something like that. So if you give it too soon, it can be very harmful.
Which is the same reason God sends people to you only at particular points in
Yeah,
time.
you can say that. Yeah.
So he is the ultimate guru.
Yes, you can say that. Yeah.
Ooh, that's it, Palga Rinpoche. Can I be rude enough to make one last mantra request of you?
Sure, no problem.
Because when you did the Om Mani Padme Hum
Ji.
mantra, that particular chant of yours, I go back to regularly. I'll just listen to that part of the podcast. It's at the 2-minute mark or something in that episode. I'll leave it to you. It's your stage to take. Again, just maybe the only thing I'll put into this moment is the intention that it's definitely for me, and I am being selfish here a little bit to just be in the presence of a Rinpoche, but it's also for the audiences and it's for everyone who's shown support to the show for so long, and
Definitely.
we're just putting a ripple into the universe as well.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me back again in this show so soon. But like you mentioned at the beginning, you don't know why you feel drawn towards Tara, and since the introduction, discovery of this statue that belonged to your father, you felt something change in your life, different manifestations happening very swiftly, very powerfully. I think it's because maybe you are connected to white Tara, as we see. And I'm personally, my personal god or deity is green Tara. So maybe that's what connects us spiritually in a way. And yeah, I think last time when I did the chant, which many people were saying that they made a clip out of it and, like replaying the same again and again. I think it just came very spontaneously. I had no intention. I didn't even know how the show was going to be, what we were going to talk about. I just felt spontaneously that I had to say it. I felt like maybe Tara made me say it for the sake of our listeners and to your viewers. And yeah, I'm really, grateful for the experience people felt. I feel very fortunate that through your platform, through yourself, I'm able to reach spiritually to so many people all over the world, and especially in our beautiful country, for which I really care about. And the least I can do for our beautiful country is something spiritually. And one more thing I would like to add is that even though you know the meaning of Rinpoche, the precious one, yeah, in today's day and age, you are a Rinpoche also, with millions of people who follow you, who look for you, look at you for guidance and for inspiration. And I'm really happy that we are together as brothers, yeah, sons of Tara, as you can call it.
Honor of my life.
Yeah, trying to do something for our beautiful society. I will end with the chanting of Om Mani Padme Hum. Take a deep breath, calm your mind, relax. Do not think of anything. Just think of Avalokiteshvara. You don't have to think about how he looks like, how many arms he has. Just think of Avalokiteshvara, that he's here with us right now, in this room, wherever you are. and he's blessing us through this mantra. Skönge mage gondo kar zo sanges ge vulargen togje change dola ze shanre zegla chansa lo o mane padme hong o mane padme hong o mane padme hong o mane padme hong Oi mane padme hong, 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 oi mane padme hong. Oi mane padme hong, 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 gewande nyurdo dai shara zewan duvgurne dowa jigamalos pa te sala good paration. Thank you. As you mentioned earlier, we did a few days of recording in this beautiful studio of yours, and I feel very comfortable in it now because we recorded a lot of guided meditations, chantings for the app that you're actively working on, Level Supermind. And there will be a lot of chantings, recordings of guided meditation on that also. So, but I'm still happy to be able to do this chant here with you as we did last time. Thank you, Ranveer. Bless you.
I'm a little speechless, but the gratitude is in our hearts. So just want to say thank you. Today was just a conversation for us.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much a conversation for the podcast. So,
I know.
so thank you. This was meant to happen.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that was the episode for today. As I said, during the course of this podcast, every time I speak to this man, I'm left with strength. I'm left with additional zeal. That's exactly what I felt at the end of the chat. I'm sure you're feeling a version of that at this point as well. That's the magic of Palga Rinpoche. It's the honor of my life to be able to bring these stories to the audiences. And it's an even bigger honor to collaborate with Palga Rinpoche on Level Supermind. We've linked it down below. Make sure you go check it out for his Buddhist chanting series, his Buddhist meditation series. I know it will impact your life if this episode has appealed to you. So definitely go check it out. Palga Rinpoche will be back on the Ranveer show. And please let me know in the comment section about what you thought about this episode. Lots of love to you guys. All I want to say in the end is Om Mani Padme Hum.